inspired by that noisy crowd in St. Louis. The folks in Calgary are very noisy tonight and almost completely in red. Game 7, and the referee will be Andy Van Helleman, the linesman Ron Finn, and Ray Scampanella.
And our goaltending tonight, once again, Rick Wamsley, who's now lifetime 13-4 against the Calgary Flames. His backup will be Greg Millen. For the Calgary Flames, Mike Vernon is back in between the pipes. He's 10-5 in the Stanley Cup this year. 10 wins, second only to Patrick Roy, who has 11 for the Montreal Canadiens.
Game 7 is underway, and the Flames clear it to center. Steve Bozick dumping it in. Wamsley handles his first shot of the night. Lee Norwood trying to clear it. Held in by McCowan, and that shot off a stick and high up into the crowd.
Chuck Demers has done a masterful job with this St. Louis team. As far as his lineup is concerned, he has no injuries. His extra men are Sean Evans, Cliff Ronning, who played the other night, is back on the bench. Ron Flockhart, Kevin Lavalle, Brian Benning, and Kent Carlson. Dave Barr is in the lineup, and Bruce Bell, who played 2 nights ago, is also back in the lineup for the Blues.
Demers is starting to be referred out here in Calgary by the press as Jacques Demers because of some of the tricks he's pulled. Puck is loose right at the Calgary blue line. 4 players jamming up there. And then it's Cambellini knocking it in. McCowan back to get it. To Hokenlu. He feeds it out to Mike Eaves into center ice to Bozick. Leaving it for McInnes. Here's McInnes, checked by Reeves, and Rob Ramage is there to clear it, and McCowan goes back for Calgary. Headmanning it to Bozick, number 26, now to Joe Amato. But in ahead of the play and offside was the Calgary player, Hunter, and the faceoff will be at the St. Louis line.
There's a guy who's also done a pretty good job with the Calgary Flames, Bob Johnson. He has, of course, 2 key injuries he's dealt with since the Edmonton series. Kerry Wilson out for the rest of the way with a spleen injury. Gary Suter with torn knee ligaments. His extra men, Brett Hull, who hasn't played since he signed his contract out of the colleges. Perry Berezan, Terry Johnson not dressed tonight, and Nick Fotiu dressed tonight in place of Johnson is Robin Bartel.
Here's Charlie Bourgeois to Dave Barr, who tipped it into the Calgary zone, and then St. Louis make an immediate line change. Back come the Flames, and Reinhart dumps it in, but one of the Flames a little over-anxious and in ahead of the play. 6 previous times. Well, this is the 6th time the Blues have been involved in the 7th and deciding game. And they have a good record in their previous action in a game 7, 4-1. Calgary in 3 previous 7th and deciding games also have a winning record, 2-1.
As we look at Paul Reinhart, what a playoff he has had, especially lately. 7 points, 7 assists in the series. Failed to get a point in only 3 games in this playoff season, so he's been very steady.
Flames shoot it in. Norwood clearing it back out. Into center ice, it is McInnes. He fires it in. Going back is Rick Natras. Natras for St. Louis. Flipping it out into center ice. Here's Fedorko breaking in with Paslowski. 2-on-1, and McCowan broke it up perfectly. Big early defensive play by Jamie McCowan to break up the 2-on-1. Here's Hunter to Poplinski. Trying to work in against Natras. Shot blocked by Natras. Dave Barr over to get it. Otto knocked him down. Now fired by McCowan around on the boards. Held in by McInnes with a shot. That's wide of the target. Bounces to McCowan shooting. Wamsley the save. Rebound. Poked away by Natras. And now play is called as the Blues goal had been dislodged. Puck was loose, but the goal had been blocked loose, and that stops play.
Rick Wamsley caught in a lot of traffic right in front of the net, and he was scrambling back. Here's the 2-on-1, and McCown had the line, and he just broke that up beautifully. What he did was he played the 2-on-1 perfectly, bottling up a potential pass. Here's the shot with Wamsley kicking it out, and this presented a lot of problems as people got behind Wamsley. You're going to hear this crowd here. They're up more than they've been at any time during this series. Game 7, and everybody in Calgary, snowstorm and all, excited about this hockey game.
By the way, a special welcome tonight to our St. Louis audience on our CTV telecast because of the snowstorm. Here's Sheehy shooting one wide. The St. Louis crew unable to make it in here yet, and we're feeding that broadcast. Here's a chance. Patterson rebound. Big save. Walmsley still loose. Walmsley another save on a close-in try by McDonald. Two big saves by Rick Walmsley. Back comes Dave Barr. Shooting it in. Reinhart back to get it. Missed it. And Lanny McDonald flips it to center. Norwood for St. Louis. Flipping one into the Calgary zone. Sheehy missed it, and Patterson then cleared it. Gilmore just missed knocking that down. Norwood clearing it to the Calgary line. Joe Mullen has it there. Mullen, number 7. Working in. Broken up on the play by Paslowski. Mullen gets it again. Paslowski again tried to clear it. Here's Tonelli. His shot intercepted by Gilmore. Gilmore up to Sutter. Sutter dropping it back to Gilmore as Calgary has had the early edge in play to put on some pressure. They shoot it in again. Rick Natras for St. Louis. Into center ice to Paslowski. He flips it to Beers. Beers getting it into the zone, but Baxter is there to knock it out to Danny Quinn to Joe Mullen. Mullen with a long shot wide of the net. Gilmore for St. Louis back to get it. Passing it to Beers. Beers shot it to center. Back come the Flames, flipping it in. Digging in is Tonelli. Natras over to take him out. Tonelli continues to battle. Here's Wickenheiser losing it. Lood centered. Bale broke it up. And then Wickenheiser, one of the heroes of Game 6, cleared it to center. Baxter back to get it. Flames on the attack. McCowan to Reeves. Into Bozak. Big save, Walmsley. Rebound. That's shot wide. McCowan trying to hold it in. Flames dropping it back to McCowan. In on the boards. Here's Lube behind the net. Oaken Lube. And Bruce Bale is there to clear it out to relieve the pressure as the Flames have outplayed St. Louis here in the early going. And it's an icing call against St. Louis.
There's a man under fire. Bozak from Eaves. Terrific play in front of the net, and Walmsley equal to it. The shots on goal are 5-0. Watch the rebound. There's Eaves in front of the net, and it rolled past the defenseman. Walmsley has been very busy.
Flames on the attack again. Hunter couldn't get a shot off. Hunter into the corner with Bourgeois. Flames holding it in. Reinhart to the other point to Sheehy. His shot intercepted by Mahar. To Cavallini, broken up by Reinhart, and he lost it to Reeves. Reeves waits for his team to get onside, tried to give it to Mahar. Otto intercepting to Poplinski. Poplinski flipping it in. Cavallini back to get it, and Bourgeois took Otto out of the play, and here's Rick Mahar with Reeves a 2-on-2 break. Long shot. St. Louis is first to the game, and Vernon handled it easily. Flames then clear it to the St. Louis line. Paderco knocking it down. Here's Barr to Paderco into Hunter. Hunter moves in, shot one, and off Reinhardt's stick. And up over the glass. In the 1986 playoffs, the first goal of the game has seen that team win 50 of 66 games. 76%. The team that scores first wins.
Who would have bet that Mark Hunter would have been the brother of the 3 who would still be in the playoffs? Dave plays for the Edmonton Oilers, and Dale plays with the Quebec Nordiques, both divisional champions. He's outlasted both of them.
Or even better, that Brian Sutter with the only Sutter brother still playing here in the month of May. Puck shot in by Calgary. Back is Ramage. Ramage to Brian Sutter. Now to Gilmore. Flipping it into Paslowski. This is the line that turned it around for St. Louis the other night. And now it's an icing call against St. Louis as Paslowski gets all tied up with the Calgary player down in the corner, Robin Bartel. Meanwhile, an icing call has been called against St. Louis. 14:40 left in the first period. With Ron Roosh and Bobby Taylor, this is Dan Keller. Here's Otto centering one. Just missed Poplinski with that pass, and the puck comes to center. Knocked away by Paslowski. Now it's McCowan to Poplinski. Natras bumped him. Here's Joel Otto trying to move in. And Cavallini has him tied up. Now McCowan in front to Hunter. Norwood poked it away. McInnes shoots. He scores! Hunter may have tipped it. Calgary takes the lead 1-0. let it go. Did Hunter tip it in?
Well, watch in front. It's poked back to the line. Good defensive play in the slot, but the puck never cleared the line. I don't think he touched it. McInnes all the way. And McInnes, we talk about having a playoff. McInnes has done the job for the Flames. Coming into this game, 9 points, a goal and 8 assists in his first 6 games of the series. His 4th goal overall in the playoffs, and he has 10 points in 6+ games now.
Calgary getting the important first goal to jump in front. Charlie Bourgeois for St. Louis trying to clear it up. Robin Bartel, number 15, knocked it down. Shot it back in. Cavallini cleared it back into center ice. And Baxter, number 4, hustling back for the Flames. Calgary can't clear it as Reed's in there forechecking now. Following up is Bartel. He cleared it. Bourgeois racing back to beat Tonelli to it. Bourgeois cleared it and gets it to Reeds at center. Reeds leads a 3-on-2 St. Louis break. To Mahar with a drive. Burned in the save. Mahar another shot. High and wide. Now to the point to Ramage. His shot blocked. And Bell at center ice. Backing the play up. Fired it into the Calgary zone. And it's offside. The scoring play was McInnes from Hunter and McCowan to give Calgary the 1-0 lead.
Well, there's Joey Mullen climbing to the bench. You take a look at a fellow who has really performed. The last period and the overtime was as good as he has played, complete with his fat lip and everything else. That goal, by the way, scored at 5:42 to make it 1-0. Big early goaltending, but still the Flames on their 6th shot. It is now 6-2. Score first.
Here's St. Louis with Norwood to Brian Sutter, number 11. He dumps it in. The young goaltender Vernon giving it to Reinhart. Reinhart clearing one. Federico knocking it down. Centered to Hunter. He just missed on that tip-in try. Now Natras at the point. Reinhart is there to intercept and clear it out onto the boards. Bozak and Hunter battle for it. Here's Dave Barr, number 6. Back of the net. Now Hunter in the corner. Hunter to Barr. Dave Barr trying to center. Put it in front. Nobody there. Federico was, but couldn't get to it. And Calgary trying to clear it up. Couldn't the first time. Here's Hoken Lou. Number 12, Lou. Moving in around Natras. Hit the side of the net. Puck lay there and Norwood poked it away. And another close chance for Calgary. Now St. Louis with Norwood. Firing it to Federico, who comes to center. A 2-on-3 St. Louis break. Back to Dave Barr, who takes a hit from McCowan and then knocked it in behind the net. McDonald is there in the Flames. Patterson shooting it to center. Comes into the blue zone. Walmsley out of the net to clear it to Rob Ramage. This pass to Gilmore. Into center ice to Sutter. Sutter for the Blues. Over to Paslowski, cutting in. Shoots, he shot it wide. Vernon came out, he may have got a piece of it, and then it bounced wide. St. Louis's best chance. Here's McCowan into the blue zone. Upended, got it to McDonald. McDonald trying to center. Gilmore breaking it up. And Doug Gilmore flips it into center ice. McInnes, who has the Calgary goal, back to get it. To Jamie McCowan, who fires it in. Here's Poplinski, lets it go to Hunter. Hunter poking it in. Dropped back by Otto, but the puck came outside the line, and then Robin Bartel carried in offside at the St. Louis line.
Here's that chance. Look where the puck ends up. And just getting it out of the way as Norwood is completely losing sight of it was Rick Walmsley.
Here's Danny Quinn for Calgary. He's been hot lately. Shot it in. Fabrice for the Blues is there. Clearing it to Beers. Held in by Calgary. Here's Baxter. Upended by Bourgeois. And Herb Ragland feeds it to Beers. Beers into the flame zone. Moving in. Shoots. And Vernon just got his stick on it. Not a hard shot. Here's Beers. Trying to center, but Tonelli knocked it away. Beers into the corner. Poked it back to the net, and Danny Quinn has it for Calgary and flips it down into the St. Louis zone. Number 35, Fabrice, back to get it, icing against Calgary. Bobby Taylor's in the broadcast booth with us. A 1-0 Calgary lead. Your thoughts to this point, Bobby?
Well, I kind of expected Calgary to really come out firing in the first 10 minutes or so, and I'm sure St. Louis did as well. They wanted to weather the storm, so to speak, but with that goal that Calgary scored, I think St. Louis has sort of woken up a bit now, Dan and Ron. They've started to assert themselves. They're getting much more aggressive offensively now.
Well, you've got the crowd going for you. You want to get the jump. You want to put the pressure on. If you can get the lead, fine. For a while, it appeared Walmsley was going to keep them out. As it is, it could be 2 or 3-0 right now. Right now, the Flames protecting a 1-0 lead.
Here's Mahar against Eaves. Mahar wins the draw. Into the corner, centered it. Vernon tipped it away. Now Natras at the point. That shot hit Reinhart. Reinhart over to Lube. Lube able to clear up the center. Natras back to get it. Natras under pressure, flips it back into the Calgary zone with Cavallini trapped in there. And it's called back on an offside, and the faceoff is going to be back near the St. Louis blue line. Manager Bob Johnson. He says this is now a best of one.
Well, it is. Remember way back when this series started, they called the first game boring. I don't think anybody's saying the series is boring anymore.
Puck is cleared in. Lee Norwood, number 23 for the Blues. To Cavallini. Sheehy ties Cavallini up. Over comes Eaves. Flipped it in. Norwood back to get it to Natras. Off the boards to Mahar. And Mahar scoops it to center ice. Sheehy has it at the Calgary line to Lube. To Boza. He's bumped by Mahar. And here comes Rick Natras leading a 4-man rush. Missed Reeves with the pass, however. And Reinhart is back for Calgary. And back he comes. Reinhart with Boza. Reinhart shot. Walmsley almost was leaning the wrong way, but made a stick save. Cavallini to Dave Barr. Barr, number 6, taken out on the play by McInnes, and Håkan Loob has it for the Flames. 9:45 left in the first period. Flames leading 1-0. Here's Reinhart clearing it in. Risebrough couldn't get it in. Ramage rink wide to Brian Sutter. Sutter ahead to Gilmore. He's checked and Risebrough feeds it to Patterson. Patterson just dumping it in. St. Louis's Bruce Bell back to poke it out to Sutter. And Sutter shoots it to the Calgary line. McInnes, who has the Flames goal, firing it back in. Ramage chasing back for the Blues. Knocked down but got it to Fabrice. He quickly moves it to Sutter. And Sutter shot it to center. The Blues are trying to move it quickly out of their own zone every time the Flames dump it in. Here's McDonald clearing it in. Now back is Paswowski. Quick outlet pass to Gilmore. Missed him. Now Gilmore again to Sutter. Sutter just flipping it to the Flames line. And Baxter for Calgary. Over to Poplinski. Moving in. Centering to Hunter. Here's Hunter behind the net for Calgary. Tim Hunter couldn't center it, and the Blues clear up the center. Baxter has it there. Paul Baxter to Tim Hunter. He's checked, and Barr feeds Rob Ramage. Ramage moving in to Mark Hunter. Shooting one wide by a couple of feet. Bounces to center. Norwood has it there. Lee Norwood to Dave Barr. Barr taken out of the play, and Poplinski has it. By the way, we have not had a penalty in this game yet. There is a loose puck in center. Norwood coming up with it for St. Louis to Charlie Bourgeois. Ahead to Wickenheiser. Shot in. Baxter is there to get it. Baxter trying to move it out. Fedorko holding it in. Gets it to Raglan. Raglan into the corner. Mullen back-checking, broke it up. Joe Mullen off the boards. Bourgeois pinching in to hold it, but Mullen breaks out with Quinn. Here's Danny Quinn shooting, and Walmsley came out, made the save. And the rebound taken by Norwood. Meanwhile, play called. Charlie Bourgeois injured and down on the ice away back in the Calgary zone.
Innocent-looking play up against the board, seemingly innocent, and I don't know whether a stick got involved. Bourgeois is behaving like perhaps the stick came up into his face. Norm Mackey, the trainer for the Blues, out very quickly on the play. It happened as the puck and Bourgeois, and I believe it was Quinn, up against the boards, came together. And as play came up ice quickly, leaving everything behind was Bourgeois as he went down on the ice. Now watch to the right of your screen, Bourgeois number 4 going up against the boards. Now that seems innocent enough. Oh, a stick as they were going for the puck, a stick came up accidentally and just cut him across the mouth. Well, there we see through the helmet there of Herb Raglan, guy who's really done an incredible job. Jacques Demers, coach of the St. Louis Blues. Boy, he's got that team pumped up, haven't they? Both teams are really skating well at great tempo to this game early on.
Calgary has outshot St. Louis 8-2 and lead the game 1-0. Al McInnes getting the goal at 5:42 here the first period. Here's Poplinski getting a face-off. Now Paslowski tried to clear it out, couldn't. Hunter for the Flames to Poplinski. Knocking it back to the net. Joel Otto over to get it. Flames have changed their lines around. Here you see Otto out with Hunter and Poplinski. And here's Ramage pulling down the Calgary player. Poplinski, he'll get a penalty, delayed penalty coming up. And now play is called. And at least one penalty coming up, and maybe two. Both Ramage and Poplinski to the penalty box.
Here it is behind the net. See where you can see the penalty for Poplinski. There's a hole there. And Poplinski, keep following it through if we can. And there might be an elbow coming out of this. There it is.
Ramage was going to get a penalty, and then when Poplinski put the elbow up, he got one too. Here's an icing call. Called against the Calgary Flames. That Risebrough, in arguing, he thought he had kept the play onside. What a competitor, number 8 for the Calgary Flames are.
I'd like to say right now, our congratulations to Andy Van Hellemond, who is officiating in his 111th game, which ties the record set by Bruce Hood. Van Hellemond, who remembers his very first playoff game very well. It's a game involving the St. Louis Blues. Tell you more about it.
Puck shot in by St. Louis. Flames carry out. Here's McInnes, head manning to McDonald. As Risebrough with him, McDonald whips one high off the glass. Sutter for St. Louis poked it back up. Now McCowan cleared it. Paslowski intercepting to Sutter. And it's shot in, and McInnes has it for the Flames. Fires it up the middle. Paslowski fires it back in. Paslowski tied the game. And then Wickenheiser in overtime won it in Game 6 for St. Louis. Here's Paslowski trying to hold it in. The Flames get it to center. The respective captains, Risebrough and Sutter, battle on the boards. And play is called. You know, neither one of those guys is going to give an inch.
Not back down a bit, as Bob Johnson says. I know one guy who's going to turn up tonight, give everything he has. That's Risebrough. Of course, we know about him. You know, that line that Sutter was on in the third period 2 nights ago had 14 shots. 5 by Sutter, 5 by Paslowski, and 4 by the other member of the line, Gilmore.
14 of 19 shots, and that led to the St. Louis comeback. That's the line that spearheaded. Calgary clearing it out. Bolzak gets it. Bourgeois back out there. After being injured, here's Lube to Paul Baxter. Baxter tried to center. Bourgeois there for St. Louis. Now to Mark Hunter. Hunter, number 20. Around on the other wing. Lube held it in. Now behind the net, Eaves. Tied up by Mahar. Mahar and Eaves battling. Mahar steals it back. Out to Gino Cavallini. Couldn't get it, and Baxter has it at center for the Flames. Fired back in by Calgary. Walmsley setting it up for Pavis. That's Lubin forechecker. Pavis cleared it. Bolzak on the board. Centered it. Hit Mahar. Bolzak again. Mahar knocked it down again. Bolzak stays with it. Here's Bolzak behind the net. Pavis taking him out. Now Lube takes a bump from Mahar. Mahar behind the net to Bourgeois. And Charlie Bourgeois leads the St. Louis rush. 3-on-3 is the break. It's dumped in. Sheehy back for Calgary. Cleared it. Norwood held it in. Centered to Barr. Knocked away by Reinhart. Natras back for St. Louis. They just flipped it into center ice. The Flames take over. Reinhart to Mullen. He cleared it in. And Norwood gives it to Natras. Natras forechecked by Quinn. Now ahead to Hunter. Hunter taken out. Reinhart cleared it. And here's Mullen to Quinn. Back to Joe Mullen. Trying to feed it into Tonelli. There's another new line for Calgary tonight. And now a pile-up in the corner. And Tonelli down on his knees with Norwood. Hold it there.
Well, the fans are up for it. The sea of red in the Saddle Dome in Calgary as Calgary leads 1-0.
Field of white outside. Snow. Goes all day. Calgary, how does Montreal get in? Ramage for St. Louis, giving it to Bruce Bell. Bell, number 10. Flipping it into Barr. Now McCowan is back after it. Jamie McCowan flipping it up to Risebrow. Ragland knocks that down. Here's Herb Ragland. Gets around McCowan, but Patterson there to clear it back out. And Ramage shoots it back in. Here comes Eddie Beers. Into Wickenheiser. Risebrow ties him up. Now Beers into the corner. Here's Wickenheiser. Centered it. McInnes for the Flames takes over. Into center ice to McDonald. Lanny McDonald with a quick wrist shot. Walmsley a glove save, and Eddie Beers starts back for St. Louis. To Ragland at center. Broken up by Quinn. Back comes Quinn. Moving in. Walmsley out of the net. Got a piece of it. And then it bounces to Ragland. And he quickly clears it down the ice. Flames. Bartel back to touch it. Icing against St. Louis. Still 1-0 for the Flames. 3:07 left here in the first period. 9-4 the shots on goal. Danny Quinn out centering a line with Tonelli and Mullen. Shot by Bartel. Walmsley made a save, and Mahar, who's out with Cavallini and Reeds, beats Gino Cavallini. That's flipped in. And Vernon back to the net, fired it over on the boards. Cavallini digging into the corner. Here's Robin Bartel. In comes Mahar, trying to center. Mahar still with the puck, couldn't get it in front. Rick Mahar centering it, comes to Bourgeois. That shot blocked. Tonelli has it, and now play is called. And a cross-checking penalty coming up here against Bartel of the Calgary Flames, and St. Louis, trailing in the game, will have the game's first power play.
Well, the Blues starting to set it up a little bit inside the Calgary zone. Is one of the rare times in this period that they've had an opportunity to do something like that. Bartel goes off for cross-checking directly in front of the net. And so here it is. Now watch Bartel. He's number 15 in the slot area. As the puck deflected out, Bourgeois got a shot away. And right here, the penalty was called. And over in front of the net, just off and out of our view.
St. Louis with the man advantage. St. Louis overall in the playoffs, only a 14.0% with the man advantage, 12 goals. Now Calgary able to clear it to center. The Flames have an outstanding penalty killing, an 85.3 penalty killing percentage. Here's Norwood to Natras. They're the point men. Back to Norwood, now to Wickenheiser. Ahead to Natras, into Fedorko. Moves in, backhander, Vernon. Took it against his chest and made the save on Fedorko, who moved in with a backhander.
Nice little pass, so just a sort of a soft touch-type pass that put Fedorko almost in the clear with a backhand high. Bobby, that those backhands you seem to worry about, the goaltenders worry about, but Vernon, as short as he is, he stood up on it.
One thing that as goaltenders, you really expect that backhand to come high. You know, it's something that I guess it stems from when you used to play on the corner rinks, but if you can get a good backhand and shoot it low, you can handcuff a goaltender more often than not. But the move that impressed me was Fedorko going through the middle. That might be a way to penetrate that defense.
Faceoff is going to be deep in the Calgary zone. In this series, Calgary's had 13 power play goals. St. Louis has had only 4, and they've given up a couple while they were on a power play, shorthanded to Calgary. Here are the Flames. Natras poking it in. McCowan is there. Back of the net to McInnes. In comes Hunter. Now to Patterson. He missed it. Wickenheiser a drive. That deflected and bounced just wide. And then the Flames clear it down the ice. Walmsley to Rick Natras. Natras on this Blues power play, dumping it in. 1:03 left in the penalty. Here's Vernon clearing it on the boards. In comes Gilmore. He couldn't hold it in, and Risebrow shoots it away. Bruce Bell back for St. Louis. St. Louis had 2 power play goals in Game 6 after their power play had really been sour in the previous few games. Here's Ramage for Paslowski, or at least for Ragland, who's knocked down. No, it was Paslowski, and the play is offside anyway at the Calgary blue line. Paslowski, like a thief in the night, tied that 6 came up. An unbelievable tying goal by number 28 for St. Louis.
Well, the sheer hustle, and the reason that play became what it was Kozlowski was trying to get a face-off deep in the St. Louis end so that they could pull the goaltender. And he was hustling to get to that. Suddenly found the puck, just hooked it away from McCown, put it into what was an empty net.
Reinhart clearing it down the ice. Bell is there for St. Louis. Bell to Sutter. Shot it in. And Reinhart back to get it. Fell on the play. Vernon came out, missed it. Kozlowski trying to steal it. Now Reinhart trying to clear it. Ramage held it in. We're in the final minute of the first period. Calgary shoot it to center. Here's Bruce Bell to Ramage. Rob Ramage into the Calgary zone to Sutter. Shoots wide on the short side. Now Kozlowski moved in, but the Flames clear it to center, and Bell back to get it. Klozak on his tail. And Bell feeds it to Sutter. 35 seconds left in the period. Sutter to Kozlowski, but McCowan intercepting. Shoots it down the ice, and Bruce Bell has it for St. Louis to Ramage. Out to Kozlowski, now to Gilmore. Gilmore's pass intercepted by Poplinski. He feeds Otto, but Hunter was already in the zone and offside. 17 seconds left in the period. The Flames, by the way, are now back at full strength. They've killed off the penalty.
Well, the Blues again having their problems on the power play. We talk about the power play of the Calgary Flames. 13 goals in 6 games. The NHL record is 15 in a single series. Bobby Taylor remembers that one. The Islanders against Philadelphia in 1980. And that was in a 6-game series, believe it or not. Bobby said it seemed like every time he turned around, it was a power play goal going in for the Islanders.
Here's Poplinski with a long shot wide of the goal. We're in the final seconds. 5 seconds left in the period. Reeds for St. Louis. Comes to center. And there's the buzzer to end the opening period. Calgary outshooting St. Louis in the opening stanza, 10-5. Al McInnes had the only goal. And Calgary, after one, here at the Olympic Saddledome lead, 1-0. I thought the Flames' strategy was rather interesting. They've broken up a couple of lines, and I think that may have confused the Blues a little bit in the first period.
Well, I think that Jacques Demers has had the people he wants on the consistency of the Blues, and now all of a sudden he's going to have to adjust himself.
Here's a new line combination with Otto, Tim Hunter on right wing, and Poplinski on left wing. Blues have out Mahar, Reeds, and Cavallini. Second period just underway. Rick Natras to Lee Norwood, now to Gino Cavallini. Cavallini couldn't get around McInnes, and it's shot back in by Hunter. And the Blues, Natras goes back to get it. Rick Natras being forechecked by Hunter. Natras has to cut back. Natras being watched now by Mike Eaves from the front of the goal. Worked it to Norwood, into center ice, picked up by Reeds to Mahar. Back to Reeds, couldn't control it, and Bozak tied him up. Calgary then clear it. Eaves getting it into center ice. Mahar back to his own line to Jim Pavis. Now to Mark Reeds, who tipped it in. And Steve Bozak, number 26, has it for the Flames. His pass to Eaves. Now poked in by Kozlowski, but McInnes is there. He cleared it to center, and Hook and Lube feeding it in for Eaves, but the play is offside at the St. Louis blue line.
Well, now it's getting into a little closer checking. Not going to see an awful lot of traffic in front of that net, I don't think, as we move along here in this hockey game, Bobby.
You know, I noticed something in the first period, at least on the part of the Blues, Demers, that he's trying to get Rick Mahar out there as much as possible against Eaves or else Danny Quinn. Mahar, of course, the quickest center that he has, and Eaves and Quinn are the fastest centers that the Flames have. So he's trying to match up that quickness.
Here's Risebrough with McDonald and Patterson out against Barr, Fedorko, and Hunter. Puck cleared in by Calgary. Patterson knocked it back of the net. Dave Barr trying to work it loose, gets it to Bell. He's checked by Risebrough. Quick shot, Walmsley the save. Risebrough back to Reinhart. Fakes the shot. Now centered it. Risebrough's shot block comes right back to him. Another shot, this time blocked by Bell. St. Louis clear it to the corner. Now McDonald behind the net. Dave Barr getting the puck on the boards. Able to clear it, knocked down by Patterson. They score! Colin Patterson makes it 2-0 for Calgary. From at somebody and change direction.
Walmsley had it all the way until it deflected. They move out, the check, and it deflected right between the legs of Walmsley. I don't see how it deflected. Maybe we'll get a better view here as the puck seemed to come off a stick and then just deflected down and in. Colin Patterson getting the goal, and the crowd here with a 2-goal lead are on their feet.
I'm sure that shot hit the stick of Bruce Bell, the defenseman, and dipped and changed directions on Walmsley. And it is 2-0 for the Calgary Flames. Colin Patterson will get the goal. Patterson, a native of Rexdale, Ontario. Played college hockey at Clarkson College. St. Louis now down 2-0 here in Game 7. Puck is cleared by St. Louis into center ice. Going back to get it is Stanley. Vernon setting it up for him, and now back in the center ice area. Penalty called against Paul Baxter of Calgary. A charging call against Baxter, and St. Louis will have a power play.
Just inside the line, and Baxter didn't even hesitate. He went straight to the penalty bench gate, even as the whistle was going. Here's the shot. Patterson letting it go. That stick reaching in there. And then Bruce Bell was also in front of the net, and I think it was his stick that had deflected. It hit the 2, and nothing Walmsley could do at all. And that one, watch it go between his legs. Here's the penalty. Watch Baxter moving in. And there's the charge up against the boards. Now, they've got a 2-0 lead. That's a penalty they didn't need.
Well, also, it leaves a message, though, because if they're going to start hitting a lot, that winger up there might get rid of that puck sooner.
The scoring play, Patterson is 6th of the playoffs from Reinhardt. 1:42 the time. It's 2-0 for Calgary. Gilmore, Sutter, and Paslowski the forward line. Norwood and Natras the point man. Face-off. Won by Otto, but the Flames can't clear it. Here's Paslowski for St. Louis. Dropping it back to Rick Natras. Now to Norwood. Shoots one wide of the target with that drive. Now Natras. Gets it to Gilmore. He pokes it into Sutter. Sutter knocked down by McCowan. McCowan cleared to Risebrough. He gets it outside the line. And the Flames, Joel Otto then shoots it down the ice. Natras back to pick it up for St. Louis. The Blues on a power play. Here's Gilmore. Gilmore stepped around McInnes, but McCowan is there. And Jamie McCowan gives it to Risebrough. Shot ahead to Lube, poking it in. Norwood just took Lube out of the play, didn't worry about the puck at all. And Natras has it. A minute left of the Flames penalty. So far, St. Louis in this power play hasn't threatened at all. Puck shot in, McCowan fires it right back out. Now Ramage for St. Louis. Rink wide to Beers. Eddie Beers. Stick handling in. He's checked by McCowan. And now Lube starts back and flips it in. Walmsley leaves it for Ramage. 35 seconds left in the Calgary penalty. Ramage with a long shot. Vernon the save, but the play was offside at the Calgary blue line. And not much of an attack at all by St. Louis here with the man advantage.
Well, I think when they write the history of this playoff series, if in fact Calgary goes on to win it, they're going to look at the power play, the penalty killing of the Calgary Flames. So when the teams are even strength, St. Louis has outscored Calgary 15-10. This is Gilmore hitting the line and upended by Jamie McCown. McCown has played very well here tonight. He played very well the other night as well until, of course, he lost that puck to Paslowski for the tying goal. But he's put in mostly some pretty solid hockey here the last couple of games.
Here's Ramage for St. Louis to Bruce Bell. Bell trying to shoot it in, does. McInnes back for the Flames. Fired it out, and Ramage has to go back. 15 seconds left in the penalty. Number 5, Rob Ramage for St. Louis. Headmanning it to Federico, to Hunter. Hunter back to Federico. He tips it over onto the wing. Taken by McInnes. Baxter's back on. Here's a pass. Moving in to Lube. Shoots. Walmsley reached back and made an excellent glove save. That shot was labeled.
This is Lube with speed coming out over the line. And boy, there's a shot, and there's a heck of a save, Bobby.
You know, he almost grabbed that behind him.
He did grab it behind him, but he almost grabbed it back in the net, is I think what Bobby was trying to point out. Here are the Blues shooting it to center. Danny Quinn fires it back in. Pavis has it there. Pavis for St. Louis, shooting it to the Flames line. Knocked out. Bourgeois. St. Louis has not had much offense. They've had only 5 shots on goal, and that includes a couple of power plays. Back comes Mullen with Quinn. 2-on-2 break. Mullen into the middle. Couldn't get the shot off as Pavis was there to break it up and clear it away. Reinhardt at center ice. Reinhardt to Danny Quinn. Now to Mullen. Joe Mullen, who rattled one off the crossbar in overtime in Game 6, flips it in. Pavis is there to shoot it back out, and Sheehy lets a long one go. Walmsley setting it up for Bourgeois. Now to Cavallini. He just dumps it in. And Bartel, number 15, back for the Flames, clearing it out onto the boards to Hunter. And then Calgary shoot it in. Walmsley out of the net. Firing it around on the boards. Calgary sending in Hunter. Right to center. Reeds intercepts. Mark Reeds for St. Louis. Into the Calgary zone to Mahar. Mahar back to Reeds. Missed him. Comes to Netras shooting. That's wide by several feet. And Bartel then cleared it to center ice. Norwood for St. Louis. Giving it to Fedorko. Fedorko leading a 3-on-3 break. Fedorko trying to leave it there for Reeds. Calgary break it up, and Bolzak starts back. Bolzak has Hunter with him. He's up in it, and the Blues, Netras will get a penalty here. And Calgary will have its first power play of the game. They already lead 2-0, and a Flames power play coming up.
An underrated part of the St. Louis game is their speed. It gets a penalty here, and you can't talk enough about Bozak and the way he has played this series. He got the jump on Netras. There's the hook. There's the second hook, and down he goes. He drew a penalty. But at least Bozak and his line have just been great in the series.
Mullen a shot and a big save by Walmsley there. Oh, Mullen had a great opportunity. Here is Gilmore for St. Louis. The Blues short-handed. Gilmore moving in. Gilmore to Paslowski. Fanned on it. And Joe Alotto starts back. Head Manning had Mullen open, but Bourgeois broke it up. Paslowski dropping it back to Pavis. Flames, who have been terrific on the power play in this series. 13 goals with the man advantage. And they have it right now. Their first of this game overall in the playoffs. Calgary with 21 goals, a 23.6%. They go offside this time. But their power play in this series, after not doing well against Edmonton, has been tough for the Blues to handle.
What a save Walmsley made on Mullen. Now this guy does not miss, and all Walmsley can do is stand in there, hold his ground. Here it comes. You watch it now. Mullen gets it all alone in front. Bobby?
Boy, I'll tell you, and he had to keep his concentration, too. When those men are diving in front of you, and especially when they're coming low, you almost expect it to be deflected.
Calgary's power play percentage in this series is 36.1. 13 goals on 36 chances. 1:05 left on the Blues penalty. Here's Lube. Reeds broke it up. Oaken Lube into Bozak. Centering. Oh, McDonald had an open side and missed. And put it right up into the crowd.
Well,
Lanny is upset about that, do you?
Not very often. He's missed those. He had the top corner. He knew exactly where he wanted to put it. And he just missed the top corner and set it over top of the net. They set it up beautifully out in front.
Boy. What they're really having trouble with, St. Louis, is what's bringing that man loose on the off wing is that man down low in front of the net. He's almost setting a pick on that defenseman. The defenseman's not sure which one to get. He can't move out to him, and the pass gets through.
Here's Reinhardt for Calgary to Lube, who fires it in. Ramage trying to deflect it on the boards. McDonald knocks it down to Tonelli back of the net. It missed him, and then Norwood shoots it into center ice. Reinhardt for Calgary. All Reinhardt with 35 seconds left in the Blues penalty to Lube. Oaken Lube. Still with the puck is Lube. Back Back on the point to Tonelli. Return to Lube. To Reinhardt. To Tonelli. Side of the net deflected by Lube wide. Maybe one pass too many there. And then the Blues clear it away. A dozen seconds left in Natras's penalty. 12:22 left in the period. 2-0 Calgary. Here's Quinn. Moving in, got around Gilmore. Danny Quinn. Dropping it back to McCowan. Natras back on. McCowan a shot. Walmsley the save. Centered. And it's cleared away by Gilmore. Now Pavis trying to slap it out of there and does. Natras is back on. St. Louis has killed it out. Here's McInnes flipping one up high. Charlie Bourgeois back, and as he touches it, an icing call against the Calgary Flames, who lead this 7th and deciding game 2-0.
Up at the top of your picture, that shots on goal statistic, a dead repeat of what happened in the first period when the Flames got off to a 6-0 start in the period.
Here's St. Louis. Bell a shot. That's their first of this period. And an easy save for Vernon. Back comes Poplinski. Ramage came out to meet him. Poplinski stopped, and Bell cleared to Fedorko. He has Hunter with him. Pass to Hunter, but he was going the other way. Back comes McInnes with Poplinski. And coming out and breaking it up is Ramage. Puck into the corner. Hunter in to try and clear it, and does. And here's Bernie Fedorko. Fedorko in on left wing to Beers. Shot. Vernon a stick save. Flames can't clear it. Held in by Hunter. Natras closing in. Natras shoots. Vernon a save. And then it's cleared away by Calgary, and Poplinski able to shoot it to center ice. Norwood has it there and back in the zone. A penalty has been called by Andy Van Helleman, and it's against Tim Hunter. No, it's against Eddie Beers of St. Louis. An elbowing call to Beers. St. Louis, Ron, really flirting with disaster. They're down 2-0. They've taken 2 penalties in a row against this Calgary power play, which has been almost awesome in this series. Here's Lou. Ahead to Quinn. Quinn flipping it in. Norwood missed it back of the net. Now Natras gets it to Norwood. Tried to clear it. Lube into Quinn. To Mullen. He let it go for Mike Eaves. Eaves back to Reinhardt. Now to Lube. To Reinhardt. Reinhardt fakes the shot. Gives it to Eaves. Side of the net to Mullen. He fanned on it. And Wickenheiser back for St. Louis. Wickenheiser, number 14. Moving in. Still with the puck. And then drops it all the way back to his own line to Norwood. And Norwood fired it down the ice. Vernon made a save and then held on to it. You know, you'd wonder if Vernon, after being criticized a little bit here in the last couple of days in the press, might have been a little shaky, but St. Louis has not been able to really test him at all. That's how much support he's had from his teammates.
Well, the third period of the game 2 nights ago was the first time in this series where he had really undergone steady pressure. Basically, the Flames have protected him very well. The rebounds have been cleared until the third period. Well, you're going to have to live with rebounds. You're eventually going to have to pay the price. I don't care who you are in goal. Vernon made some mistakes too, but a lot of it's a team game, and his team was responsible as much as Vernon was for what happened in the third period the other night.
Flames with a minute left in Beers' penalty. Reinhardt dropping it to McInnes. He shot it in. Ramage going back to get it. And as Ramage touches it, and he waited as long as he could to touch it, an icing call against Calgary, and the faceoff comes back into the Flame zone as Rob Ramage discusses the play with the linesman. And Jacques Demers works on the gum at the Blues bench.
Notice some changes in the power play alignment too, Bobby, and what really has happened in this game, you're seeing it almost every shift now. There's speed out there. They're kind of swallowing up the Blues. They certainly don't have anywhere near the speed, the team speed that the Calgary Flames have.
They certainly don't, and they seem to be really gaining that blue line when they have the man advantage very easily. They're getting a chance to get inside that offensive zone and get set up. Any club that has that much time to get set up is going to be successful on the power play.
Face-off deep in the Flame zone, won by St. Louis. Ramage a quick shot. Vernon a glove save, and here's McInnes. To Reinhardt. 42 seconds left in the Blues penalty. Moving in is Otto, and the play is offside at the Calgary Flames blue line, and Joel Otto bangs his stick on the ice in disgust.
Håkan Lube, meanwhile, trailing on the play, wound up with one of the Blues sticks caught between the blade and the sole of his skate. He went down and he was out of the play, the offside at the blue line. Look at Lube. I think that probably Bozak and Lube have been the key as far as the penalty killing of the Flames have been concerned, because what they've done is they've caused the Blues to become very defensive even when they're on the power play. They're holding back because they're worried about the breakout with the speed of those two players.
Here's Reinhart for Calgary to McInnes. 30 seconds left in the St. Louis penalty. Dumped in by Calgary. Reeds for St. Louis. Back to clear it. Here's Lou to Reinhart at the point. Over to McInnes. His shot blocked by Ramage, who cleared it into center. And it's McInnes there for the Flames. Intercepting it is Bahar, who shot it in. Reinhart has to go back. 8 seconds left in the penalty. Here's Reinhart. Reinhart working in. Penalized player back on. Puck centered. McInnes shooting. Walmsley got a piece of that. Beers is back on, but the Flames still have pressure on. Tried to center, and Natras intercepted it. Into center ice to Beers. 3-on-2. St. Louis break. Beers to Gilmore to Paslawski. In front to Beers. Couldn't get it to him. And it's shot out of there by Sheehy for Calgary. Now it's Gilmore. Over to Paslawski. Back to Gilmore, but Sheehy intercepts. Neil Sheehy to Joe Mullen. Mullen trying to center. Walmsley came out and blocked it and is able to freeze it.
Well, you look for patterns to develop in a hockey game, Bobby. This is the only shot that came off the power play, and this was after the power play had ended by a second or two. That by McInnes, who's getting a lot of shots on goal, but nobody in front of the net.
Here's a loose puck from the faceoff taken by Fedorko. Over onto the boards to Pavis, who just shoots it to center. Just over 8 minutes left in the second period. Calgary leading 2-0. Here's Jamie McCallum. Stopped, centered it. A quick shot by Patterson just wide. And Hunter is there to clear it to center for St. Louis. Neil Sheehy waits for his team to get onside. Dumping it in. McDonald digs in. Tied up by Bourgeois. Now Patterson coming in with Hunter. Hunter trying to kick it loose on the boards. And it's finally held there. And then McDonald and Charlie Bourgeois bump after the whistle and then take a push at each other.
A couple of former teammates. There's Lanny McDonald, who was playing in his 98th game this year. He played one exhibition game and then suffered a thumb injury. Didn't play the rest of the exhibition season. And then the first 4 games of the year, he played with his thumb in a cast. But he played all 80 games this year and has played all the way through the playoffs. The fellow who's played the most games this year, regular season and playoffs, is Bernie Fedorko, playing in his 99th game tonight. The only member of the Blues to play all 80 games.
Sheehy looking on at the Flames bench. It is Otto, Poplinski, and Hunter for Calgary. Hunter, by the way, has taken a regular shift throughout this game. That's one of the changes that the Flames have made. Here's Fedorko against Otto. St. Louis winning the draw, and Natras carries up. Rick Natras to Beers. Vernon out of the net to clear it. Hunter couldn't knock it down, and Otto battles Natras and is able to clear it to center ice. Fedorko for St. Louis to Rick Natras. Natras carrying in. Feeds it to Beers. His shot off a skate. Cleared away by Vernon. Beers again holding it in. Gets it to Hunter. Now to Rick Natras. Shoots one. Vernon a stick save. And it deflects up into the crowd here in Calgary. Well, if the Calgary Flames only had 2 periods to worry about, they've dominated this game. They have a 2-0 lead. They've outshot St. Louis 17-9, and the Flames have been dominant, Ron, no question.
Well, Dan, it seems to me I've read this script before somewhere. We'll see if the rest of the script's the same.
Here's Bale, a shot that trickled through, and Vernon made the save. Back comes Bozak. Flipping in. Ramage is there for St. Louis. To Cavallini. Gino Cavallini to Dave Barr. Tried to get it to Ramage, but intercepted by Sheehy. And Lube has it for Calgary. Now to Sheehy. Trying to clear it in is Mike Eaves. Bell tied him up. Now Bruce Bell trying to get out of the traffic. Gives it to Wickenheiser. Wickenheiser with Cavallini and Barr into the Flame zone, but offside. was Gino Cavallini over on the left side. 2-0, the Calgary Flames leading. They had a first period goal by Al McInnes and an early second period goal by Colin Patterson. Here's Bourgeois for St. Louis. Into the Flame zone to Gilmore, but again the play is offside. Sutter over on left wing in ahead of the play. Speaking of people having an outstanding playoff, number 9 of the Blues falls into that category.
I asked Ron Carl why Doug Gilmore was drafted 134th. He was the scoring champion in the OHL. He was drafted the year before he won that scoring championship. Well, you can't measure hard, as what they like to say. And boy, for the Blues, he is kind of a Mr. Everything. He can score important points, and he has during the playoffs. And he also has played very, very well defensively.
Now Fedorko out there with Beers and Hunter. Trying to flip it in as Fedorko. And Eddie Beers does, but the Flames take over, and McCowan quickly trying to move out on the left side and did to center. And Quinn just deflects it into the Blues zone. Jim Pavis back for St. Louis. Passing to Beers. Into center ice to Fedorko. Knocked away, and here's John Tonelli. To McCowan, now to McInnes. Here's Beers into Voracek, poking it in. McInnes there to flip it back up, and Joe Mullen breaks away with Tonelli. John Tonelli trying to drop it to Quinn. Pavis breaks it up, and St. Louis start back. 3-on-2 break. Pavis to Hunter. Hunter trying to leave it for Beers, moving in. Vernon a save on Beers. And then McCowan. There's the rebound to Mullen. With Quinn. Quinn leaving it for Mullen. Mullen upended by Ramage, and another St. Louis penalty coming up here. Rob Ramage will get a tripping penalty, and Calgary will have a power play.
Rob Ramage for tripping. I think Joey Mullen gave him a little bit of the how do you do, and Ramage went for it, and he argued there shouldn't have been a penalty, that he ran into him. And I think he might have, he gave him the outside move, as he did when he went.
So often you see the inside-outside, but that time Mullen went outside-inside, and he caught Ramage flat-footed.
Flames are 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. This is their third straight power play chance here in this period. Lube giving it to Bozak. Bozak checked, and Reeds cleared it away.
Get a chance to see that speed of Bozak hitting the line again. This time it didn't work because he didn't cut through, but boy, he's hitting the line with a lot of speed.
Here's Håkan Lube. Taken out on the play by Mahar. Now Bozak behind the net, able to center it. Reinhart to Lanny McDonald. McDonald lost it, and Natras breaks out for St. Louis. Rick Natras is flipping it into the Calgary zone. Reinhart has to go back. 4:38 left in the second period. 2-0 Flames. Calgary on a power play. Reinhart leads it. Shooting up high off the glass. Mullen to Quinn. Shot. Glove save Walmsley. On a quick wrist shot by Danny Quinn.
Dan Quinn again going for the corner. With a quick shot. He scored some very big goals in this series so far. Seems to score them in bunches. He's got the good shot. Here he comes now as he just lets the wrist shot go. Picking the corner on Walmsley. Walmsley's been very good on those shots, though, throughout this series. Bobby?
He has been very quick. You know, he's been playing it very smart as well. And any opportunity, he's been holding on to that puck and forcing face-offs.
Here's Calgary with Otto controlling. Back onto the point. Shot didn't get through as it hit Otto. It comes to Joe Mullen. Mullen to Reinhart. Reinhart shoots one, blocked by Bourgeois, and Bourgeois cleared it out of there. Ron was talking about Danny Quinn, 7 goals in the playoffs, and 5 of them have been on the power play. Here's McInnes, flipping it in. Mullen in with Sutter. Comes to Reinhart to McInnes. Back to Reinhart. To McInnes. He fired it in. It went high. Winds up on the mesh of the St. Louis goal and is held there. And the faceoff will be deep in the St. Louis zone. Just 9 seconds left in the Blues penalty. 3:41 left in the period as Charlie Bourgeois skates to the St. Louis bench.
2 straight penalties that the Flames have had now in the 4 minutes, less than 9 seconds. They have had just 2 shots total now. Now, again, you look for patterns in games, and all of a sudden you're seeing a slight shift towards the St. Louis Blues in this. They have had to kill off 3 straight penalties. They've done it rather well, I thought.
They're playing the point man much more aggressive now. They were dropping off them before. Now they're right up there challenging them, making them pass it through them.
St. Louis able to clear it to center ice. Sheehy has it there. Firing it back in, and he put it up too high. And Ramage has just 1 second now left in his penalty. Blues are back at full strength as Calgary's Eaves clearing it in. Risebrough in to get it. Antros tried to clear it. Here's McCowan. Walmsley a save. Rebound. Poked at by Risebrough. And Walmsley able to freeze it against his old buddy from the Montreal Canadiens. Doug Risebrough, by the way, coming up in our intermission. A personal up-close look at Rick Walmsley of the Blues.
Who is playing extremely well. All right, Bobby, here's a high shot coming to the point. You like those low ones. This one caused trouble.
It really does, because it makes it very difficult for you to control the rebound. We saw Vernon have trouble with it. Cavallini scored on it. This time Walmsley has trouble, and he's able to cover up, though.
Like the low shots for the deflections. You get one of those, especially screen shots up high, the rebound is a problem.
It really is, because when you're looking for the puck from the blue line, you tend to get lower in your crouch and look around it. Then when it comes high, all of a sudden you're like a jack in the box.
That's exactly what Walmsley did. He leaped off his skates to block that with his shoulder.
Here's Joel Otto against Doug Gilmour. 3:09 left in the period. 2-0 Calgary. Ramage for St. Louis. Dropping it back to the net to Norwood. St. Louis trailing by 2 and unable to get much offense going in this game. Here's a loose puck at center. Paslowski picks it up. Coming in with Gilmour to Gilmour. Trying to get it back to Paslowski. Poplinski knocked it away. Now Sutter holding it in. Knocked it back to the net. Baxter has it for Calgary. And he's able to clear it to Poplinski. Poplinski shoots one. Walmsley the save. Big rebound, but Gilmour cleared it. Now Quinn with a drive. Walmsley got a piece of that. Quinn again at the goal post on the short side. And then Quinn is knocked down and injured. And the Calgary fans holler about that. Meanwhile, the Flames had Walmsley beaten and hit the near side goal post.
Well, Quinn got his own rebound coming back. He's got the shot. We've seen him use it often in this series, and he's been successful mostly on power plays, as Dan mentioned a few moments ago. I don't know what happened to him off that shot. I lost track of him as the puck seemed to come off the goal post. Bearcat Murray, the trainer for the Flames, out there. Here's the first shot, and it's a good one. Kick save made by Walmsley off the backboards and back out to Quinn, who is standing still a bit. Now he lets that go and took an elbow by the looks of it as that puck hit the stick. Now we've got Norwood
Hunter and Norwood in a fight. So Hunter and Lee Norwood doing battle. And Hunter gets Norwood down, and then in come the linesman. I take it that it was Norwood that decked Quinn.
Now Hunter, who led the Flames with 291 minutes in penalties in the regular season. They're both going off for fighting.
Well, penalties have been called here by Andy Van Hellemond. As yet we have nothing posted on the board or no one in the penalty box, but you know that Hunter and Norwood were involved in that scrap. Bobby Taylor, I want to bring you in. It's 2-0 for Calgary. The Blues have not shown very much offense in this game from a St. Louis standpoint. Would that concern you a little?
I would think so, Dan. It's much the same pattern as we saw in St. Louis in game number 6. Calgary had control of the game completely for 2 periods. St. Louis really couldn't do anything. And it's something I don't think you can expect to keep coming back time and time and time again, and especially against a team such with the talent that Calgary has. And they have just been all over them. They have not allowed them to move, and when St. Louis has gained the blue line, they're making one too many passes.
Each of the first 5 games of this series, the team that scored the first goal won the game. Game 6 was the exception to that. But now with this 2-0 lead, you would expect Calgary in their own building to play a full 60 minutes.
5-minute major penalties to Hunter and Norwood for fighting as well. Hunter got a 10-minute misconduct. So coincidental penalties, the team's not short-handed. And now Mark Hunter and Lanny McDonald get their sticks up down in the corner.
Well, Hunter leaves the ice for 10 minutes. I thought he's been one of the more effective members of the Flames in this game so far. There's Mark Hunter having his words with Lanny McDonald.
And perhaps more penalties coming up here, although Van Helleman has not signaled that as yet. Well, we invite you to be with us for games 1 and 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. Either the Blues or the Calgary Flames against the Montreal Canadiens, beginning this Friday night, and then game 2 on Sunday. If Calgary win this series, the series will open here in Calgary. If St. Louis win this series, then the series would open in Montreal.
Provided
and with the airport closed and the snowstorm, how is anybody going to get out of Calgary? Or are the Montreal Canadiens going to get in if that be the case?
Well, John D'Amico was supposed to be one of the linesmen for tonight's game. They tell me he's stuck up in Olds, Alberta. He landed at an Air Force base this afternoon. Hope you're enjoying the game, John. He was going to tie an NHL record for linesmen officiating a game, along with Andy Van Helleman in tonight's game.
Puck is shot in by St. Louis. Calgary quickly moving it out. No penalties on that last play, by the way. Risebrough has it in center ice to McInnes. Long shot wide of the goal. Bruce Bell back for St. Louis. Bell to Fedorko. Fedorko into the Calgary zone. Couldn't get around McCowan, who played him perfectly and feeds Patterson. He leaves it for McDonald, and it's shot in. Back to pick it up is Rob Ramage. Ramage to Hunter, but Poplinski had him taken out of the play. And as a result, the pass goes the length of the ice. And that's an icing call against Calgary. I think a key part of this game tonight, Ron, has been the fact that Bob Johnson has changed his lines around, and it's been effective for the Calgary Flames.
Well, they've been really moving the puck very well. There's Jamie McCowan, who 1984, as you see, was the all-rookie team. He's having an excellent game. There's Andy Van Helleman. I mentioned he's officiating his 111th playoff game. I asked him what his most memorable one is, and he says his first playoff game, and that was a game that Bob Plager ran over him and wrenched his back so badly that he's paid for it ever since. About 13 years ago, he spent 3 weeks in the hospital, and the back has never been the same. He's played and officiated in a lot of pain over the years.
Here is Brian Sutter shooting it in. Sheehy trying to clear it up. Paslowski knocked it down, but the Flames break up. Here's Poplinski with Mullen on his right. Trying to get it to Mullen, but Poplinski fell down. Puck loose back of the net, and it's taken by Fabrice. Cleared to Sutter. He couldn't get it up. Joe Lotto a drive wide. We're in the final minute of the second period. Here's Mullen. Shooting, deflected, and an excellent glove save by Simcoe, Ontario native Rick Wamsley.
Oh, great concentration on that one, Bobby. He just, as he took the shot, Neil Sheehy had Otto floating around in front of the net, and it just sort of deflected into Wamsley's glove. At least he concentrated on it well enough that it got to the glove.
You know, his concentration has been excellent, and really, you got everybody going to the net, and now he just is there. And the key is to hold on to that puck. He's not giving out the big rebound. Wamsley likes to kick that rebound past an awful lot of people, and tonight he hasn't done that. He's kept a hold of it.
St. Louis winning the faceoff. Mahar checked from behind by Eaves. And then Mahar stole it back again, but it's held in by McCowan. And then Mahar able to shoot it to center. Blue firing it right back in. Wamsley steered it into the corner. Natras and Bolzak in there. Puck came in front of the net. Fabrice for St. Louis. Able to clear it to Fedorko. Fedorko got to center. Check. Lanes come right back. Fabrice knocking it back to center to Fedorko. 15 seconds left in the period. Fedorko tried to give it to Mahar. He was taken out. And it's McInnes for the Flames, shooting it into center ice. Fabrice fired it back. Just 3 seconds left in the period. Long shot off Wamsley's blocker and into the corner. And the second period comes to an end. Ron, to my way of thinking, Bob Johnson and his staff deserve a lot of credit. They have turned this team around from a very heartbreaking setback, and to this point they played almost a perfect game, not only offensively, but they have smothered the Blues defensively, they haven't given St. Louis really a smell.
Just the one period, really. You look back on two games, the first two periods of the last game and the first two periods of this one, you'd have to say that they have dominated the Blues.
Calgary dumping in the third period underway. Back to get it is number 9 for St. Louis, Doug Gilmour. Gilmour with Sutter and Paslowski. The St. Louis forward line as Gilmour works it into center to Sutter. Off his skate, and Bruce Bell fired it in. McCowan there to feed it right back out. And here comes Joe Mullen. Mullen, number 7, with Poplinski. Waited too long, and Bruce Bell broke it up. Bell into center ice. Getting it now to Paslowski. He's into the Calgary zone. Risebrow back for the Flames. Into center ice to Poplinski to Mullen. Mullen shoots it in and heads for the bench as Calgary change on the fly. Back is Bourgeois, and he carries out for St. Louis. Number 4, Charlie Bourgeois shooting it in. Reinhart for the Flames, back to get it. Clearing it over onto the wing to Colin Patterson. He tried to get it out. Bourgeois held it in, centered. Here's deflected it, but it went high off the glass. Here's McDonald flipping it, and he flipped it up over the boards right at the Calgary players bench, and the faceoff will be out near center ice.
Well, Doug Risebrow, 32 years old now, more goals in this Stanley Cup year, 7, than he scored in 4 Stanley Cup winning years combined in 1976 through 1979, the 4 Stanley Cups in a row with the Montreal Canadiens. 4 goals against the Blues in this series in 6 games. He's been in a goal-scoring slump, but certainly he has not been in an overall slump, because you don't expect goal scoring from the team captain of the Flames. You expect that hard-nosed defensive-type play that he is famous for.
Risebrow, Patterson, and McDonald against Federico, Hunter, and this man Beers. Eddie Beers cleared it. Sheehy knocks it down. Shot it back in. Risebrow firing it around in the boards. Here's McDonald. But Federico takes over for St. Louis. Drops it to Ramage. Back to Federico. He dumps it in for Beers, but Vernon out of the net to clear it to the other side. And Patterson has it for Calgary. Colin Patterson to McDonald. Long shot, glove saved by Walmsley. And he held onto it. With Risebrow right on his doorstep.
Lanny McDonald of the Flames, a long season for him. As we mentioned, he's playing in his 98th game since September. Turned 33 in February. Not ready for retirement line, they call that group. With Tonelli on the line along with Risebrow. A lot of years for Lanny McDonald since he came out of Medicine Hat on that Memorial Cup finalist team that lost to the Howe brothers, Toronto Marlboros. Played on the line with Tom Lysiak on that junior team. It's a long time ago now.
Here's the line for Calgary of Eaves, Lube, and Bosick. Face-off, won by the Flames. Baxter with a shot, well wide of the net. And it's Natras for St. Louis. To Gilmour, ahead to Paslowski, breaking in. Paslowski, check from behind on a great defensive play by Bartel. And here's the rookie Bartel, who just made a great play on Paslowski, clearing it down the ice. Robin Bartel from Drake, Saskatchewan, put into the lineup tonight. And he just rewarded his coach, Bob Johnson, for that confidence with a jam of a play.
Well, here is Paslowski, who has got speed, about all that Bartel could do. But, Bobby, we're noticing something, a different way of coming out of the zone than we were seeing before. And now suddenly the puck is moving quicker up ice for the Blues.
They have to pass that puck and pass it quickly. And I think what they're doing is that the defenseman is starting to wheel it around the net a lot quicker than they had before. Before they would go behind the net and stop. Now they're wheeling it around the net, getting it up to the dots or the hash marks to make that pass. And that's working very well for them.
See the quick two-way pass, and they send the man free. They weren't doing that in the first 2 periods. Great play by Bartel, though, former Olympic team member who spent the year down in the minor leagues in the farm system with the Flames. Free agent signing with this team, and it seems like the whole team is a free agent signing here.
Blues win it. Paslowski a shot. That was blocked, never got to the net. Sutter centered. Gilmour was there, but the pass missed him, and back comes Mullen. Joe Mullen with Otto trailing. Now McInnes picks it up. Shooting, and he blasted it wide. Big hard shot, but off target. St. Louis come back. Here's Gilmour trying to break in. McCowan took him out, and McInnes cleared it to Mullen. Mullen to Joel Otto. And Otto fires it in. Walmsley leaves it for Bell. Here's Bruce Bell. Calgary changing on the play. Bell to Dave Barr. He moves in on right wing. Sheehy there to clear it. And back comes Quinn with Loeb and Tonelli trailing. Here's Quinn with Bourgeois. Now Tonelli. John Tonelli centered out in front. Sheehy shot up, deflected. Never got through as it's blocked at the defense. Into the corner to Bourgeois. Now to Pavis, ahead to Cavallini. And he feeds it into center ice. Here's Dave Barr. Barr tied up by Quinn. Barr behind the net to Wickenheiser, centered. Knocked away by Tonelli and then cleared by Loeb. And Ramage chases back, and this will be icing against the Calgary Flames. The red crowd in Calgary with the hometown Flames leading 2-0. Early in the third period, here's Natras with a shot. Wide of the net, now Beers poking in front. Hunter couldn't get a shot up. Hunter back to Beers. Tied up by Baxter. Penalty coming up. The Calgary, McDonald cleared it away. And now a holding penalty called against the Flames. And Lanny McDonald. I said McDonald was going to get the penalty, but he was near the penalty box to argue. The penalty was to Bartel for holding, and there's why.
Well, we're seeing an imperceptible, I don't think it's even an imperceptible shift in things here. All of a sudden, the Blues starting to make it a little difficult inside the Calgary zone for the first time in the game.
They should just skip the first two periods, get right to the third.
Give them the 2-0 spot.
Exactly.
We talked about St. Louis's difficulty on the power play, and it's particularly so here in Calgary. In this series, the Blues are 0 for 20 on the power play at the Saddle Dome. Here's Natras, ahead to Hunter. Now to Norwood, flips it in. McCowan back to get it, trying to shoot it out. Paderco held it in, but McCowan gets another chance and clears it down the ice. St. Louis is 0 for 2 this evening with the man advantage. Here's Natras to Norwood. They're the point men with Paderco, Beers, and Hunter up front. Here's number 24, Paderco. Bolzak was there to break it up. Now Bruce Bell, who has just come onto the ice. Back there his own line to Hunter. St. Louis with Bolzak being very aggressive again. Now it's Bell. This time Patterson comes across, but Sutter flipped it. Bolzak intercepts. Couldn't get around Natras. And then Patterson flips it in. Very aggressive and very effective penalty killing by Calgary. Here's Bell to Gilmore. Shoots it in. And that play is offside. Called back on a two-line offside. With 48 seconds left in Bartel's penalty. And perfect penalty killing by the play.
Well, it's a lot of imperfect play on the part of the power play of the Blues, including a lineup change. They went to the bench at one point there, and it was a very ragged change. It caused some difficulty in the center ice zone. Just nothing is happening right in the power play.
They're still trying to beat that first forecheck. They're stick handling. You have to pass it by him. They haven't been able to beat him stick handling all series long.
Puck is shot in by Calgary. Ramage is there to get it. Here's Ramage leading a St. Louis power play rush. Ramage into the flame zone. Dropping it to Bell. Flipping it into the corner to Gilmore. Gilmore to Sutter. Sutter dropped it. Risebrough intercepts. Paslowski held it in. Paslowski into Gilmore. Sheehy there to clear it. And he cleared it up over the glass. It went off Ramage, they rule, so the faceoff will be outside the Calgary blue line now with 19 seconds left. Listen to this crowd in Calgary for the penalty killer. Gilmore with Paslowski and Sutter again for St. Louis. Puck in center ice. Gilmore back to Natras. Now to Gilmore. He leads a rush. Shoots one. Vernon a stick save. Paslowski shooting. Vernon got his arm up to get a piece of that. Here's Sutter centering. Comes to Natras. A drive off a stick wide. Gilmore centered. Loose in front. Sutter can't get to it. Vernon out of the net. Back to Norwood. An open net. And Patterson went down and got a piece of it. Now the goaltender Vernon gets back in. And the Flames come to center. They're back at full strength. Bolzak moving in. Here's Bolzak centering. Poplinski's shot and Sliding out to block it, Rick Netris, number 27. A little bit of excitement when Mike Vernon came out of the net, perhaps ill-advisedly.
Ill-advisedly isn't the word. What in the world was he trying to do? Let them back in the game?
Well, it's a type of play where you can't hesitate. The youngster seeing nobody around there had that puck bounce away, but he just didn't get a good jump on it. But what a play by McCown to deflect that shot away. It really appeared that they had an excellent chance of being within one, but McCown, who's had a strong game all the seventh game, had played another big play there.
Now the Blues clearing it to the Calgary line. Baxter back to get it to Joe Mullen. 2-0 Calgary leading. John Tonelli into the St. Louis zone. Checked and Cavallini cleared it. Hustling back is Baxter for the Flames. That's icing against St. Louis. And then Baxter and Bartel take a push at Dave Barr, who came in there aggressively for St. Louis. Still 13:38 left in regulation time. With Ron Roosh and Bobby Taylor and Dan Matheson, Dan Kelly in Calgary. The winner of this game wins the series and will oppose the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final. Face-off deep in the St. Louis zone. Dave Barr is tossed out of there, so is Dan Quinn. So Tonelli and Wickenheiser will try for the draw. Tonelli, by the way, playing at his 130th Stanley Cup playoff game tonight. That's the most of any player on either team. St. Louis with Netris behind his own goal. Out to Barr. And Dave Barr flips it into the Calgary zone. Here's the goaltender Vernon out to clear it. Norwood held it in. Into Cavallini. Cavallini behind the net. But Tonelli is there to get it to Quinn. And Quinn shoots it to center. Norwood for St. Louis. Flipping one. Cavallini now. Flipped it, but Quinn knocks it down. And Quinn to Mullen. Dropping it back for Paul Baxter. Rink wide for Robin Bartel, who shoots it in. Walmsley leaving it there for Rick Netris. Netris spins, cleared it. But shot right back in by Sheehy. He hit the referee, Van Helleman, as he shot it in. St. Louis back with Wickenheiser into the corner. Otto takes him out. Wickenheiser and Otto do battle. And they fall in a heap right on top of the puck. And now off to the other side. Norwood and Poplinski trying to get into it.
Saw Jim Poplinski there. Poplinski, they say, has had his best year in the National Hockey League. He had 24 goals. He's had better years in terms of points. But when they talk about him, they say that's 24 goals. He scored 5 on 5. He didn't score one power play goal all year. He was not used on their power play unit. So he has done a great job for this Flames team this year.
Federico won the faceoff, and it comes into the Calgary zone. Reinhart to Lanny McDonald. Bell pinches in and held it in for St. Louis. Gilmore to Sutter. He couldn't get anywhere. Now Doug Gilmore knocked down by Risebrough. And here's McDonald and Neil Sheehy. Sheehy back to Risebrough, but intercepted and past Husky. Down left wing is wrong wing, but he shoots it in. Mike Vernon leaving it there for Reinhart. In comes Gilmore. Now Sutter into the corner. Sutter to Gilmore. Gilmore and Sutter tying up two Flames and forcing a faceoff.
Well, Mike Vernon has stood up very well, but again, his team has done a good job around him, and that is as much a key as anything here. He's not had to handle those second and third shots, as Bobby's pointed out.
Here's Ramage from the point, whistling that shot wide. And back comes McDonald for the Flames. McDonald into Eaves, but the play goes offside. St. Louis has seemed to be much better offensively here in the third period. And yet they've had only 2 shots on goal.
Well, they have a territorial edge, but that's about all you can say about it. That's Greg Kozlowski right at the end of the bench, another former Canadian who was a hero in Game 6 of this series. He has 10 goals now. He leads everybody in the playoffs in that department. Start to pick playoff heroes. You know, there are a lot of names up at the top there that you would not have picked for your pool at the end of the regular season.
He and Joey Mullen, each with 10 goals to lead all playoff goal scorers. Puck shot in, Bourgeois for St. Louis. Back to Pavis. St. Louis trying to rally. Headmanning it to Gilmore, who puts it in. Now Hunter racing in after it. But McCowan is there. Hunter comes in. Here's Sutter centering it. Off a skate. Cleared by Calgary. Held in, but then kicked into center ice. And then it's shot back in by Pavis. Shot quickly back out by McInnes. Here's Joel Otto taking Eves' pass. Otto moving in. Centered. Bourgeois cleared it away. And Wamsley had to stop it. Back comes Paslowski all by himself. 1 against 2. Waits for some help. But then McInnes broke it up. Paslowski gets it again. Over onto the wing. Knocked down by McCowan and shot back in. Rick Natras for St. Louis. Into center ice to Paslowski to Paderco. Broken up by Bartel and cleared back in. And St. Louis back to get it again with Norwood controlling. Calgary protecting a 2-0 lead. Long pass to Beers. Into center ice to Paslowski, who shoots it in. Vernon out of the net to flip it on the boards, and Joe Mullen clearing it and gets it to center. Here's Tonelli. Taken out by Beers. Rick Natras with the puck. And Natras circling back. Right in front of his own goal for Norwood. Just over 10 minutes left here in the third period. Flames shoot it back in. Natras is there. Natras for St. Louis. Just cleared it. Lube intercepting. Oaken Lube moving in. Lube is taken out by Natras, who beats Paderco. And Paderco cleared it into the flame zone. Here's Cavallini racing in to try and keep it onside, but Sheehy won the race to the puck, touched it. It's icing against St. Louis.
You can see the fan behind Bob Johnson there. They're trying to put the hex on Wamsley, and you've got all the fans of the building shaking their fingers and pointing them at Wamsley. This dates back to St. Louis when they were doing the same thing to Vernon and worked in St. Louis. I don't think it's worked on Wamsley. He has played very, very well in this game. But at the same time, it's working enough that the Flames are ahead 2-0.
Reach. And now the Calgary Flames. McInnes clearing it to center ice. Ramage has it there. Back to Bruce Bell. Now Lube intercepting. Oaken Lube couldn't get anywhere, and Rick Mahar drops it to Rob Ramage. Now to Bruce Bell. Ahead to Wickenheiser. He dropped it to Ramage. A shot into the Calgary zone. And as the Flames, McInnes goes back to touch it. An icing call against St. Louis, and we're down to 9:11 left in overtime.
Doug Wickenheiser played the best period and a bit of the playoffs in Game 6 of this series. He scored his first 2 playoff goals, including the game-winning goal. But for Doug, it just seemed that he got it going after he missed a great chance right in front of the net early in the third period of that game. Forgotten in the heroics of the overtime was the fact that he had 4 shots on goal in the overtime period before he finally, the 4th one was the one that went into the net. He's been tied up and bottled up like many of the Blues in this game so far.
St. Louis clearing the puck into the Calgary zone.
4, 5, 6.
McDonald back to get it. Fired it into center, and it's taken there by Lee Norwood. Carried in, but he didn't wait for his team to get onside, and it's offside. At the Flames, or pardon me, at the Flames blue line now with 8:58 left in the third period. Time starting to run out on St. Louis, and it seems about 2 nights ago we said the same thing.
Lee Norwood there. Lee, the defenseman of the year in the International League last year. He's not even listed in the St. Louis book. He wasn't even considered part of their plans at the start of the year. I'm sure fit into them now.
Here's Sheehy on the boards for Calgary. Shot it back to the net. Over to get it is Hunter. And Mark Hunter knocked it back to the goal for Lee Norwood. Norwood being forechecked by Risebrough. Norwood has to drop it back to Natras. Calgary in forechecking aggressively. They hold the puck in the blue zone. And Natras is back to pick it up. Rick Natras to Norwood. Trying to clear it out. Got it to center. Flames knock it down. Patterson shoots it right back in. And the Flames stopping the Blues before they get started. Here's Fedorko. Flipped it in. McInnes is there. And McInnes cleared it out. Otto couldn't get it out of the zone, but Poplinski does. Ramage over to Bruce Bell. Bell shooting it in. This will be an icing call, though, again, as McInnes is back to touch it. 7:57 left in the third period. And the Flames have held the Blues to just 2 shots on goal in this period and to 13 in the entire game.
Well, the shots on goal in this period are a saw-off at 2 apiece. The Blues, of course, trying to press and not really doing too... They seem to have a little territorial edge in the period, but at the same time, they're not getting those chances in front of the net. They need a break now. I think more than anything else, they needed something to go off on a leg, anything to liven them up and put the Flames into that period where they start to question themselves a bit.
Here's Ramage leading a St. Louis rush. Has Sutter with him. Ramage with a high shot. Mullen is back to get the puck for Calgary. Joe Mullen fired it into center. Ramage has it to Bell. Bell checked by Mullen, but Bell got it back again. Now McInnes flipping it in. And Ramage has it for St. Louis. Number 5, Rob Ramage. To Mahar, broken up by Bartel. Shot near the St. Louis line, and here's Quinn for Calgary, centering it. Came into the other corner to Tonelli. Mahar took him out. And then Gilmore knocked it back to the net for Ramage. Ramage to Paslowski, who just chips it into the Flame zone. And the rookie number 15, Bartel, has it there. Calgary's Quinn to Tonelli. John Tonelli moving in, checked from behind by Bourgeois. And then Eves in to get it, knocked it behind the net. Reeds to Bourgeois, flipped it back to the goal, intercepted by Eves, centered. Tonelli dropping it to Bartel. His shot blocked. And Mahar has it. Unable to clear, now carries it up. Rick Mahar to Wickenheiser. Vernon out of the net to flip it on the boards. Reeds for St. Louis. Into the corner to Wickenheiser. He's checked. And the Flames are able to clear it. 6:26 left in the third period. Puck cleared to center. And it's Rysdale flipping it in. Knocked down by Bourgeois, but the play was offside at the St. Louis blue line. Well, 6:20 now remaining. If St. Louis is going to pull off one of their miraculous comebacks, they had better start soon, Mr. Roosh.
Well, I think that they are not going to find much room. It's almost like a man-to-man defense out there right now.
Here's McDonald for Calgary, flipping it in. Patterson shot blocked by Fedorko. And now Beers for St. Louis. Eddie Beers got it to center. Sheehy knocks it down there. Sheehy flipping it near the St. Louis line. Bell gives it to Ramage. Ramage to Hunter. Flipping it for Fedorko. Here's Fedorko trying to get around Sheehy. Fedorko behind the net, couldn't center, and Rysbrough is there to clear it. Less than 6 minutes to play now in the third period. Rick Natras waiting for Fedorko to get onside. Natras now firing a long one in. Wide of the net, and Vernon has the puck, but the play was offside at the Calgary blue line. Unlike Game 6, when the Flames had the lead, they're not laying back in this one. They're still forechecking and sending in the 2 men and playing aggressively.
Well, the difference in the 2 games, in the third period they sat back. You pointed it out. In the third period of the game 2 nights ago, they put 1 man in, line up 4 on the blue line, and the Blues were able to beat that at the line. This time they're checking, they're aggressive about it, Bobby.
Also, what they're doing is that when the Blues are getting it in deep inside their zone, they're taking them out on the boards, and then they're laning on them. They're really delaying their exit out of the zone so that the Blues have to hold up a bit at center ice until they get onside.
Calgary dumping it into the St. Louis zone. That's Eves into forecheck on Norwood. There you see the second man, Otto, right in with him. But not far behind was Poplinski. So there's an example of how aggressively the Flames are still forechecking in the St. Louis end of the ring.
Yeah, and Mike Eves there is the ingredient, I think, that was very important in this series. I suppose in hindsight, a brilliant coaching move on the part of Bob Johnson. Adding his speed to the lineup has changed the whole Calgary Flames situation here. Suddenly, after Game 1, you put the speed in, the Eves, the Bozek, who's about to come out now, the Lube, who all of a sudden seemed to switch his game on, and in this series, the speed has been the thing I think that stands out in your mind. Many of the Edmonton Oilers mentioned it too, that in the speed department, the Flames were almost equal to the Oilers.
Wamsley just grabbing a loose puck that came near his net. 5:14 left in the third period. Calgary led 1-0 after the first period on a goal by Al McInnes. Colin Patterson scored in the second. Here's McCowan from the point, a shot blocked. And Ramage has it for St. Louis, giving it to Bale. Ed Manning to Paslowski. Long shot into the Flame zone. Sutter in to get it. Centered. Poplinski was there. Now Sutter trying to center again. Gets help from Gilmore. Gilmore and Sutter battling on the boards. Calgary break it out. And it's Joe Olato playing it off the boards. Bell has to go back. And it's icing against Calgary now with 4:43 left. As you look at Bruce Bell, number 10 of the Blues.
This is his third game in the series, including Monday night. Former Nordic, who came over in the Gilbert Delorme trade, hasn't played an awful lot in the playoffs all the way around. And the instructions coming as they look at the, I think it was Gilmore that pointed up at the clock.
I think they're upset that the clock ticked down a couple of seconds after the whistle was blown. But it's the way the crowd is here, it makes it very difficult to hear it.
Well, all right, Andy Van Helleman is going over the penalty timekeeper now. There are no neutral off-ice officials for this game. We had Edmonton officials for this series, but in tonight's game, because the Edmonton officials couldn't get in, we have got local officials handling the game. Now, has he changed the clock back? I don't know. He was in there talking to the timekeeper.
Still 4:43 on the clock. Maybe they won't start it right away and let the 2 seconds tick off that way. I don't know, but still shows 4:43. You watch the clock, Ron.
All right.
Face off. Won by Federico. Natras at the point. Moving in. Natras had a shot blocked and Tinelli. Back for Calgary to Quinn. Quinn firing it in. Wamsley steered it away. Eaves in for Calgary. Forechecking against Norwood. Now Tinelli in to try and hold it in there, but Federico breaks loose. Pulled down, and Calgary will get a penalty here. Tinelli pulled down Federico, and St. Louis will get a power play coming up with 4:20 to play.
Well, a big penalty has just been called on the Calgary Flames. At the 15:40 mark, John Tinelli hooking on Federico. Now, he's been very aggressive in this period, but you don't like to see that go down in the zone like that.
St. Louis 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. Calgary, as they draw the puck back, get it into their own zone. McInnes to McCowan, held in by Ramage, who fires it into the corner. In comes Beers. Now Hunter for St. Louis. Mark Hunter. Beers has lost the stick. Puck comes to Beers, who gets it back again. And McCowan took him out. Flames clear it off the boards. Racing after it, Risebrough, but Ramage there for the Blues to Bruce Bell. Back to Ramage. St. Louis trailing 2-0, but on a power play here. 3:45 left in regulation time. Bell shooting it in. McCowan trying to fire it out, and does. And Ramage has it again for St. Louis. Ramage ahead to Federico. Federico can't get anywhere. Here's Bozak moving in. Gets around Ramage. Now Federico trying to tie Bozak up. Bell knocked it away, and Ramage has it for St. Louis. A minute left in the penalty. Crowd is standing here in Calgary. Here comes Ramage to Gilmore. Into Sutter. Back to Gilmore. Breaking in. Bang on the shot as McCowan pulled him down, and he'll get a penalty. And St. Louis will have a two-man advantage here with 3:08 to play. Still 48 seconds left in the first penalty to Tinelli. And now a second Calgary player to the box.
McCown going off for hooking as Gilmore scooted around him and was going for the net. Here it is. Gilmore just got the jump on him. And as he was getting set to take a shot on Vernon, McCown had no choice.
From the face-off, St. Louis is Natras at the point, holding it in. St. Louis with a two-man advantage. Natras' shot. Vernon a piece of that. Here's Paslowski behind the net to Sutter. Back to Paslowski. To the right point to Netras. Feeding it into Gilmore. It was tipped on the way through. Now Gilmore back of the net to Sutter. Back to Gilmore in the corner. Back to Rick Netras. Netras feeds Gilmore. Back to Netras. Netras shooting. Vernon the save. Rebound. Poked at by Sutter. And Mike Vernon smothers it. Couple of close calls there for St. Louis.
Good shot, low by Netras, and watch Sutter in front of the net. Good traffic in there. There's a second shot taken by Gilmore as he reached into the traffic. Oh, looking for that rebound. And Vernon had those legs closed on top of the puck.
2:33 left in the period. 13 seconds left in Tonelli's penalty. 1:25 left in McCowan's. Mike Vernon, the Calgary native, who has shut the Blues out so far. Only 23 years of age, but playing as a rookie in the NHL and playing in Stanley Cup play for the first time. Face-off between Bolzak and Fedorko. Fedorko getting it to Norwood. Now to Netras. Netras centered off a skate into the corner. Calgary's Bolzak then able to clear it. And the Blues have to go back. Rick Netras to Norwood. Now Tonelli back on. Calgary just one man short. Here's Fedorko. Into Hunter. Tonelli is there. Fedorko held it in to Hunter. Hunter into the corner for Beers. Back to Fedorko. Back on the point to Rick Netras. Return to Fedorko. In behind the net to Beers. Shoots. He scores! Eddie Beers with 1:58 left. A power play goal to cut the Calgary lead to 2-1.
Well, now, here it is. He was the man who could get out in front with that traffic. Hunter causing trouble for McGinnis. He just hooked it in, but that reach coming out in front, Bobby.
That's the same type of goal that Ronning scored in St. Louis, but this time Beers was well out in front. He had too much distance between him and that checker so that he had a lot of room to maneuver in from behind that net. It makes it difficult for that goaltender to play on that.
Beers' third goal to the playoffs. Of course, he being an ex-Calgary Flame, and he scores on a power play. Beers, by the way, from Merritt, British Columbia. St. Louis has called a timeout here, and we still have 1:58 to play.
Well, there's the heart and soul of that team. Ryan Sutter, you're guaranteed he's going to be on the ice for the remaining 1:58. I'm sure the fans who have not lost their enthusiasm at all, and they shouldn't with one goal lead, are wondering, can it happen again? And you have to think that on the Calgary bench, it's the same thing. This Blues team is notorious for doing what they've just done, being good in the late stretches.
Blues shoot it in, but Calgary cleared back out. Ramage back to get it. St. Louis has Fedorko, Gilmore, and Sutter up front. Here's Fedorko. Sheehy breaks it up and feeds it to Eaves, who fired it in. Bruce Bell back to get it with a minute 35 left. Bell to Gilmore. Now to Fedorko. Hopped over his stick. And Poplinski shoots it right back in for Calgary. Number 10, Bell for St. Louis. Bruce Bell to Rob Ramage. Lets it go to Fedorko. Fedorko to Ramage at center. Here goes Walmsley to the bench. Ramage shoots it in. Fired out by Sheehy. Here's a loose puck with Poplinski racing in. Hunter trying to tie him up. Dead. Poplinski centered him. Open net. Nobody can get a stick on him. Now Poplinski into the corner. Tied up by two Blues. Held there. Play stopped with 57 seconds left. And a faceoff coming up in the St. Louis zone. Well, Poplinski had a chance to wrap it up, but Mark Hunter got back in. Took Poplinski out before he could shoot.
That last goal, by the way, Beers from Netras and Fedorko at 18:02. Well, of course, will they bring Walmsley? They'll have to bring him in for that face-off deep inside the zone. Good move by Poplinski. After he lost possession of the puck, he forced the face-off deep in that end. Make it difficult. 58 seconds left. Try and keep Walmsley in the nets as long as possible.
57 seconds left. 2-1 in favor of Calgary. Face-off deep in the St. Louis zone. St. Louis winning the face-off. Natras in the corner. Trying to flip it out on the boards to Fedorko. Fedorko to Gilmore. Here comes Walmsley to the bench again. Gilmore dumping it in. Again, 6 attackers for St. Louis. Calgary trying to clear it. Norwood pinching in. Held it in. Fedorko to Gilmore. Trying to center. Gilmore trying to put it in front to Natras. Shooting. He shot it just wide. Here's Hunter at the side of the net to Fedorko. Fedorko behind the net into the other corner. Bozak over to get it. Sutter tied him up. Now Natras to Norwood. Lee Norwood shoots one. Wide of the net. Hunter with the Blues with 18 seconds left. Flames come up with it and clear it out. Norwood back to get it. Risebrough shot it up. 10 seconds left. Here's Norwood feeding it into center ice. Now McKinnon shoots it down the ice. Wide of the net. Back is Natras. The game is over. The St. Louis Blues have run out of miracles. And the Calgary Flames are the Campbell Conference champions. They'll meet the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final beginning Friday night here in Calgary. Congratulated by Jacques Demers. So is his assistant Bob Murdoch. And pandemonium reigns at the Olympic Saddledome. For the first time in their history, the Calgary Flames will be in the Stanley Cup final. What they almost did 2 nights ago in St. Louis, the Flames do tonight before the home crowd. Bozak congratulated by Bob Johnson. And there you see the St. Louis coach, Jacques Demers, as the traditional Stanley Cup handshakes take place at center ice. Bobby Taylor, the Calgary Flames, played almost a perfect hockey game tonight and were not to be denied.
They certainly weren't, Dan, but I'll tell you, that St. Louis Blues Hockey Club has really made a lot of people, not only the fans that watch the game, but I'm sure that the players who are out of the playoffs at this point watching this game would talk about guts and determination, and they darn near pulled it off again at the end. But that young man right there, he, as you mentioned earlier, had a lot of criticism over the way he played in the last few minutes of game number 6, but boy, he made 2 huge saves when Calgary were 2 men short to keep the St. Louis Blues off the scoreboard.
And the handshakes continue. There you see Rick Walmsley, who played so well in this series for St. Louis and played exceptionally well tonight, really held St. Louis in the early part of the game. And Badger Bob Johnson.
He really did, I'll tell you. It's something, I think Ron mentioned it, Dan, about how everybody was kind of upset with that first game, how it was going to be boring. He thought the whole series was going to be boring, but believe me, that was far from it. This was a heck of a playoff series.
Well, it went to the 7th game. St. Louis went 5 games before beating Minnesota, went 7 games before beating Toronto, went 7 games and lose to the Calgary Flames. Calgary, of course, had defeated Winnipeg and knocked off Edmonton in 7 games. And there you see Bob Johnson congratulating Brian Sutter. A couple of old teammates, Poplinski and Bourgeois, can hug each other now. They would have fought each other about 2 minutes ago.
They wailed on each other throughout that series, believe me.
Greg Millen, the Blues backup goaltender, with Bob Johnson and Bob Murdoch. And the final handshakes taking place. Meanwhile, we're going to have the presentation of the Campbell Bowl here to the Calgary Flames once the handshakes are finished. Badger Bob did quite a job in turning his team around from that heartbreaking loss the other night in St. Louis.
Boy, he certainly did. And I think the players themselves probably had as much to do with it as Johnson, but I think the key was that he never really got down on him in a sense that he never really gave them an awful lot of grief over it. I think they all knew to a man what they did wrong, and he just told them, you execute, you can win.
Now at center ice, Ian Scotty Morrison, referee-in-chief of the National Hockey League with the Campbell Bowl. And he's going to present that to the Calgary Flames. Doug Risebrough, the Flames captain. And the Campbell Bowl and the Flames are the Campbell Conference champions. They'll take on the Prince of Wales champions, the Montreal Canadiens, beginning Friday night, and CTV will be right here to bring it to you. Jim Poplinski says the money isn't in it yet, but it's coming, Jim.
Either that or the champagne.
Oh, they love it in this great sports town of Calgary.